Amp Hour podcast, recorded January 10th, 2011. Episode 25, The NASA Nostalgia.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble from Chris Gamble's Analog Life.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Dave. What's new,
Another
man?
week, another show.
Yeah, another cold day in Cleveland.
Cold day in Cleveland, huh?
Yeah.
It's pretty miserable out here. I'm looking out my window and it's drizzling down rain and it's not looking that great here. But it
Not so
is,
summery.
but it is very summery. It's still
good.
22, 23 degrees here in the morning, so Celsius, which you have no idea about, but that's okay.
Right.
I'll let
That's
you
22
off.
here as well.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Which is about minus 2 degrees here or something. Yeah. Oh, boy. What episode number is this? 25.
25. Wow.
Oh, quarter century.
Yeah.
Awesome.
If we were base 5, we'd really care about this one.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, interesting you note. Today's date is the 11th of the 1st, 2011. So if you leave out the 20 and you just go 11 for the first 11, well, it's 11 here. It's probably still 10 there, but it still works.
I'm
so
confused.
it's a binary date. It's all ones and zeros. There you go. So
0,
all you've
1,
got to look
1,
out for
1,
is come 11 a.m., 11 minutes and 11 seconds or thereabouts. You can...
So what's that decimal value then? That's 25? Right, no, that's not right. 31 rather, right?
31 what?
So 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 would be...
God, I haven't converted it.
31,
Right.
I
Who
think.
cares about converting to decimal? No.
I do.
Keep
I
it
love
in binary.
Decimal. Oh, come on.
Keep it in binary.
Analog.
Right. And decimal is somehow analog. Well, it is,
Yeah,
I
right.
guess, if you have a
I'm gonna
clock,
claim
right?
that
One of
one.
those analog clocks. I bet
Yeah.
you're an analog clock man, too, an analog watch man.
Oh, I don't
Are
wear
you an
watches.
analog or digital watch man?
I don't wear watches. Who wears watches?
You don't wear a watch?
No, man.
Oh,
People my
man.
age, we don't wear watches. We pull cell phones out of our pockets.
Oh, nah. Sorry, that's wrong. I feel naked without my watch. It's
I know,
just,
that's the thing. I used to wear one, but
Nah.
I don't do it. I'm sure.
Nah.
I'm guessing that strikes a nerve with anyone under 30 out there.
Oh,
A lot
I
of people
think
just
so.
don't wear watches anymore. They're just fashion
I know.
statements now.
Yeah.
So
I don't understand it. 'Cause the watch is the ultimate in simplicity and practicality. The mobile phone, to get that out, and the screen's turned off to save power, and you've got to turn it on, and or you might have to swipe the damn thing to get it to switch on past keyboard lock to get to the time. It's ridiculous. I don't... no. And then you've got to take it out of your pocket, whereas you can just twist your wrist and there it is. Instant.
Yeah.
Not to mention the stopwatch and the timer and the alarm, and it's just there. You don't have to... nah.
I don't know. I think I'm going to have to pull a Douglas Adams quote on you there.
What's that?
Blah, 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 blah. He says, there's an utterly insignificant little blue-green planet whose ape-descendant life forms are so amazingly primitive that they still think digital watches are a pretty neat idea.
Right.
It's talking about humans in general, just in
the...
the. I think that's from the Hitchhiker's Guide. I always love thinking about. I saw a watch. I saw a digital watch for sale that looked like it was made in 1985 in Hot Topic the other day. Yes, I was in Hot Topic. Go ahead and make fun of me. People who know what that is.
I have no idea what that is.
It's just like it's like a kid's store. It's got like all these funky T-shirts, whatever. There was a Hello Kitty watch, so
dear.
Yeah, I know, right? But I was looking at it, and I was like, oh my God, a digital watch, right? And tiny, tiny little display. This thing couldn't have cost more than $1 to make. And like, that's with markup. They were charging $25 for it. And I was just like, wow. That is a hell of an industry to be in.
Absolutely. Why do you think they still churn out billions of them a year?
Vintage, crappy watch business. So, either that or calculator watches. Those are the two big industries I hear.
Calculator watches have made a bit of a retro comeback, but you still can't get the scientific one. They still have no idea.
Yeah.
They still think everyone wants their address book in there. See, that's pointless. That deserves to be on the phone, but nah, the Yeah.
I really like the iPod Nano. I know we're not even close to talking about electronics yet, but the iPod Nano now, it's about the size of a watch face, and they actually have things where you can put them onto
the
watches.
Strap, that's right, yeah.
So now that might be a comeback because, I mean, a Nano is pretty powerful. And
yeah, but who wants power? You want in a watch you almost want infinite battery life.
Video.
and you want to be able to belt the hell out of it, you know? Nah. Yeah, the iPod Nano watch, kind of cool, but it just draws too much power. It's impractical. Who wants to charge their watch every day? It's crazy.
It might be every other day. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, but still. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. Well, I'm not wearing a watch anytime soon. I have my cell phone.
Right. Well, I don't carry my cell phone everywhere. Like if I go to work, my cell phone stays in my cell phone. I hate calling it mobile phone. That's what we're calling it.
Mobile phone.
And it stays in my bag. And I don't take the damn thing out. Nobody calls me. What's the point lugging the damn thing around? Sure, if I go out somewhere, you know, I'll take it with me. But it's just, it's inconvenient. Give me a watch. And give me a digital watch. I don't like analog. I'm not an analog watch man. They look nice. Analog watches look nice, but I think they require more thought process to interpret. So, yep. And that's not efficient. Sorry, I don't like it. Some people, I've had many an argument over that, but you just have to glance at the hands, but no, you've got to interpret because your mind thinks in numbers and, you know, you have to translate the hand position into numbers. So I prefer analog watches that actually have the real numbers on them, not that Roman numeral shit or no numbers at all. You know, if I get an analog watch, it's got to actually have the physical numbers on it. So
this is an interesting list of criteria, Dave. It's pretty picky, I got to say.
Well, you know, I love product design, and I love, you know.
That's true. And as a watchmaker yourself, right? I mean,
and as a watch connoisseur and a watchmaker myself, yes. Yeah. So
now that's a hell of a title right there, I got to say. Like it doesn't have the same, you know, connotation as it used to have, but you know, you can still claim it. You know, watchmaker, right? You know, like that's always associated with, you know, being able to have very fine precision gears and, you know, like watchmakers back in the day, they were the cream of the crop, right?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Lots of manual dexterity, lots of, you know, intelligence to figure out how all the gears worked back in the day. Yeah, absolutely. Now it's just a drawer full of batteries.
Yep.
and a jeweler's screwdriver.
And a crystal,
and that's, open your watch store, yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah. I'm sure there's still watchmakers out there. I'm sure there's still craftsmen out there at Rolex or somebody who, you know, take pride in designing the gears and the, you know.
Yeah.
Because they are incredibly complex, those, you know, all the ones with the chronographs and everything in them. They're amazing design.
Yeah, especially those kinetic motion ones.
Oh,
Did you mention
the
those?
motion ones.
Yeah.
But if you don't know what that is, it's like the watch actually winds itself by the movement of your hand. Yeah. So I'm not sure if Rolex invented it. They may have. But some of the top-end Rolexes have it. But yeah.
I thought it was a Swiss maker. But
oh, right. Okay. Well, something like that. But yeah, it's great. They wind themselves. And those mechanisms are incredibly complex and highly balanced and all that sort of stuff. Great engineering. I love it.
Yes, very good engineering. All right.
Speaking of good engineering, let's see what people do at their workbenches. How about Workplace of the Week?
Workbench of the Week.
Workbench of the Week. Sorry, it's not Workplace.
We'll get there.
See, you should never have started that name. Now
Sorry. My vision at the beginning was that it was going to be people at their workplaces, like, you know, like having swaths of 20 people that were listening to the Amp Hour, all crammed around a single computer speaker, just listening intently, like the you know, like the old school radios. But apparently that doesn't happen anymore. So
now sit down, kiddies, and after dinner we're going to listen to the Amp Hour.
Shh, it's on. It's on now.
Crackle, crackle, crackle.
Oh, the tubes are blown.
Someone
replace the tubes on my laptop.
Have you seen those motherboards with tubes on them?
Oh, for like audio?
Yeah, for audio, what a
blow
wank.
it out their ass.
I know. Tell me about it.
I know.
Anyway, who have we got? We've got JP Wack.
JP
Great
Wack.
name.
Yes.
I assume JP is a initials.
Oh yeah, he wrote to it. Oh, where was it? Yeah, his real name. I think it's Jaime, maybe? Jaime, is that right?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
sure.
JP Wack. He goes by JP Wack on Twitter, so that's how I see it
JP
most
Wack,
often.
that's good enough for me. Great name. Sounds good. I like it.
Picture of his office in Chile, in what city is that? Santiago. Okay, Santiago, Chile. Yep. Man, that's
Chile.
Awesome. Man, another southern hemisphere.
Chile, say here.
It's Chile though. I think it's technically
well,
Chile.
that's what we call it Chile here.
Yeah, same here. But that's Anyway, but another southern hemisphere for you there, Dave. You guys are both experiencing summer of some magnitude, so that's pretty cool. And I mean, just the distance from I'm always amazed at how wide the spread of the internet is. I mean, I shouldn't be, but
it's massive. Yeah,
it's still it's amazing. So, anyways, he's got looks like a meter. He even tagged, so he has a Flickr photo we'll post a link to, but he even tagged all the stuff on his bench, which is much appreciated. It leaves all the guessing out of it. We could just drool over exactly what it is.
I know, brilliant.
Yeah.
Although he didn't tell us what brand of classic CRT analog
oscilloscope
he has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's kind of...
A broken switching supply. Just laying the breadboard.
Yeah,
what
components.
Else? ATX PSU bench supply. They seem quite popular.
Yeah. Oh, those are cool. Yeah, the 5 and or was it 5, 12, and no 15s though, right? So he's basically just using the 12 straight out of that, I think.
Yep.
And then it takes care of the rest. So that's pretty cool. And sometimes they put like a constant current source on the end or something like that, depending on what kind of source it is.
I know someone that built like a little board that you plug the ATX supply into, and it's got the minimum loads which need it to start up, to trick it into starting up and all that sort of stuff. And it's got it breaks it out into all the different BNC and all the different 4mm binding terminals and stuff like that. Take a look on his wall.
Don't say that out loud, Dave. Don't. I know what you're looking at. Don't say it out loud. Come on, man.
I'm quoting it. It's one of these,
swearing coming up, children. Earmuffs. Earmuffs.
Turn off your kiddies. Turn off your... tune out now. If you're in the car with your kiddies, turn down the volume. Here we go.
Yeah, right.
It's a quote. The problem contains the fucking solution. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's just...
it's from
quotes.
a site called goodfuckingdesignadvice.com. So
I've got to check that out.
Yeah,
I've got to check it out.
JP Wack has turned Dave on. He's going to be a swearing machine now, so... we crossed the R. We're now rated R. Rated R now.
No. Well, who cares? We don't give a toss in this country.
That's right.
It looks like it pops up with a big advice, one quote advice, maybe per day or something like that. But you load up the website, and today's one is work with reliable fucking vendors. This isn't enough. I need more fucking... What's this? Yeah, there you go. There's a link to more advice. Oh, I love it.
Wow.
Who set up this website?
Thanks a lot, JP
Brian
Wack.
Burge.
You just ruined the already shady reputation of Dave Jones.
Right. Well,
not going to be allowed in any of the...
I do try and avoid the F-bomb on my blog. It's pretty easy on the blog because if you realise you've said it, you got a bit carried away and you said it, you can just, retake it. But on the live shows and stuff, I've dropped a couple of, and I've been very disappointed with myself.
I can always bleep you out still, huh, Dave?
Yeah. Well, you can.
I can.
No,
I don't think I'm going to, though.
Pussies.
Yeah.
That's for pussies. No.
Yeah.
I love it when Americans
come.
I love it when American celebrities come here and they get interviewed on like Australian radio and TV and stuff, and they go, I sorry, I swore, because they said shit or something like that, and they go, don't fucking worry about it, mate. No worries, we can say whatever we want on Australian television.
Well, in the US,
and
they get
so surprised.
I mean, if that stuff slips out on the air in the US, the FCC fines them like $50,000 or something ridiculous.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a big deal. So
right, yeah.
Anyway, back to JP. His workbench. He's got a massage chair. He says he's reverse engineering the chair's remote control for automated use. So that's pretty cool. I don't know what you need beyond the remote, but who cares? I mean, I guess if you could have it like phone activated or something like that to kind of tap into that and flip a
SMS it.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
yeah.
But either way, that's pretty cool. I hope you post pictures of that. That'll be great.
Yep. Oh, and he's got a over his phone. He's got ISDN. He's not dead. There you go.
Yeah.
I guess some people still have ISDN.
Maybe in Santiago, that's the thing available still. So, good luck with that.
And he's got chicken's teeth.
What's that? What's a chicken's
I don't
teeth?
know. He's got. Yep. No idea.
Wow.
Bizarre. Anyway. Next
Chickens.
up, who we got?
Oh yeah.
Chickens.
Good lord.
We've got Troy.
Troy is from the e-bikes podcast. So we had mentioned him on here before.
That's right.
I think he's in 3 or 4. I think he's got 3 or 4 in the bag already. And yeah,
awesome. Keep it up.
Yeah, that's great. So let's take a look at his bench. Oh, no labels this time. That's disappointing. But he does have a listing of all the stuff he has.
He does
there,
have a listing of the stuff, and there he is, giving a big thumbs up. Awesome, love it.
Yeah,
blue jeans and the t-shirt.
Yep, I know. What is he trying to be? You? That's. It looks like he's trying to pull the Dave pose there.
Right.
Oh wow! So 400 watt linear power supply. That thing has got to be beefy, man.
Yeah, that's a beast. Yeah, look at it. It's big. It's got like 4 outputs. It looks like it's got 4 displays, and yeah, it's a monster.
I like the wire reels up top. That kind of thing is really handy to have. Something that
wire
organizes all
great.
your wire and everything.
Yep.
That's a great thing to have.
Highly underrated. Maybe not so much for the home lab. I guess it depends on how much stuff you do.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
if you can't, but at work, stuff like that, we always set up the racks with all the cables on them, and you just peel off whatever. You've got the 12 different colours of wire, all the same gauge, and you peel off the colours you want, and yeah, it's just great.
I would like to call out in this picture the monstrous CRT monitor in the background, because I still use one of those too. That's what the computer I'm recording on right now has, a monster, and I know they're not energy efficient, but they're a throwback, and got to give a little love for that.
Yeah, I've got rid, like in most people, I've got rid of all my CRT. On the order of the wife, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, because they're big and they're ugly, and I don't use them, so it's got to be turfed. They're the rules. So,
she makes the rules.
Yeah, exactly.
So
but
good
then
work,
again,
though.
he has progressed to a CRT there. He's got a notebook, and he's got a nice old spectrum analyzer. Is that like a HP one or something? I'm not...
That might be
Yes, it looks like HP, I think.
He listed them out. I lost the thing. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, it looks like an old HP spectrum analyzer. That's one thing I don't have in my lab, is a spectrum analyzer.
It depends what kind of work you're doing, right? I mean, like...
Yeah, exactly. It'd just be nice to have, but they're pretty expensive, and they're usually, if you get one of these old ones, which are the affordable ones, you can get them secondhand on eBay, they're huge, and to get them shipped to Australia costs, more than a brand new one on eBay. It's
right,
crazy.
Exactly.
Oh.
The thing I always thought about getting, but I haven't really had any need for it, but like a network analyzer to do like loop simulate or loop analysis and everything like that. Those things are awesome. If people don't know what that is, basically it shoves a signal. You break a loop, right? So like a control loop, because I work with analog control loops a lot. So you break a control loop, you inject a signal somewhere, and then basically you see where how that signal travels through the system, because it sweeps from maybe 10 hertz up to 10 megahertz, and then you can see the response of the whole circuit. It's really cool, and I really never knew about it until I got out of school, to be honest.
Yep. They're pretty much one of those industry things you learn about, when you get into the industry. Some schools, you might get to play around with one, but generally not.
Yeah, they're great, though. They're really great. They're really useful. So, how about this last one?
I used to have 2... dynamic signal analyzers, which are different to a network analyzer. Well, they do a very similar thing, except they're designed for audio level work.
Okay.
They a really high frequency one might go up to 100 kilohertz. That kind of. So they're designed for doing seismic measurement and audio and vibration. Spectrum and analysis and all that. So you hook up accelerometers to them and you measure, all sorts of vibrations and stuff like that. And they're just great. They're awesome.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, but once again, I had 2 of those and they were big, so they just took up too much space in my tiny lab. And it's something that you rarely use, so I had to sell them.
Yeah.
Bit sad, but well. Not to worry. But these days, all you need is a sound card and some software and the input amps, and you can turn your PC into a dynamic signal analyzer.
Yeah, basically, right?
But almost as good as a proper,
those
$20,000 one.
Those things are what, like 24-bit, 192 kilohertz or something
no,
like that?
they're typically 16-bit is a typical one. Yep.
Oh, really? I thought I was looking at
but they've got
the
incredibly low noise floors. Like your sound card might be 24 bits, but there's no way in hell you're going to get 24 usable bits out of it.
Oh, okay. So it's just a marketing
bullshit
thing.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. It's a marketing wank. So
yeah.
They're usually 16 or 18 bits or something. Some of them might extend to 20 or something like that, but yeah. But if you've got all of those bits usable, 16 bits is heaps, if you've got... Yeah.
Depends how precise
it depends on what you're working on. If you're working... Like, I had one of those... God, what's the brand name? Mental block. The Audio Precision. The world's highest performance audio analyzers. They're all 24-bit. And they're pretty darn close to true 24-bit performance.
That's pretty nice.
They're absolutely phenomenal. So I had one of those as well. And they're absolutely remarkable devices.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We do have one more.
Gear you can just drool over. One more.
Stynus. I think his name is Stein. I think I'm saying it right. Stigan, Stein. And he goes by, his nickname is Stynus from Belgium. Another one from Belgium. But this is our second one from Belgium, I believe.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so he's got a great picture.
Where is it? Lab. Oh, yes. This is what I love. Yeah. Lots of component cabinets hanging on the wall.
Yeah.
And
that's a great idea.
Lots of stacked benches there. And, just mess of stuff everywhere.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Brilliant. That's what you want to see.
Yes. And what else do you have in there? He also posted, we'll post the other links he put up there, but he had some to his projects. And, of course, we should call out the Amp Hour logo he put on the top level of his site. So that's very nice of him as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And a picture of him with it. He's in the picture as well, so double bonus.
I don't see that. Where's the picture?
No, you got to go back to the Amp Hour page.
Oh, yeah, there he is. Yeah, he's not facing the camera, but there he is, like working in the dark with just the light over his bench. And I revised my messy comment because I'm looking at the front-on shot now of the bench, and he's got the cables neatly up on racks. All the screwdrivers are put in those little holders up on the wall behind the bench, and it's actually surprisingly neat. So I love his power supply. It's got like 5 meters there. It's like a 5-output power supply.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, cables are always hard to make it look neat, no matter what you do.
Oh, yeah. No. Cable, that's why I don't even try. I just throw them everywhere. And you spend 10 minutes hunting around at the start of doing something just to find the appropriate cable.
Yep. Man. Let's see. So that's all the workplace of the week. We finally got to it. That's good. I think it's... But
have you seen all his projects, though? He's got tons of projects on his... Yeah, where his Amp Hour logo is. And he's got UV exposure boxes, etching tanks, PCB... He's got them categorized. Then measuring equipment. He's got diff probes.
Wow.
He's got function gens, ESR meters, Xena testers, and then all different types of programmers he's made for various... microcontroller, 4 different power supplies, dummy loads, audio, light effects, clocks. Jeez, he's into everything. Yeah. He's got like 6 different clock projects he's made. Wow. Awesome work.
Yikes.
Other parallel port control drivers, a PIC remote-controlled car. Oh, it's all happening.
Winamp remote control. Wow. These are all great.
Fantastic.
Yes, keep it up. We love seeing projects, too. We should mention that because, I mean... You guys are the ones doing all the awesome work out there. I mean, we're just talking here, so.
And the thing is, that's what you should be doing. If you're building these projects, as you probably are if you're listening to the Amp Hour, I'm assuming you've at least got you've worked on some projects, put them up. Set up a website, put them up there, show the world, It's as I said before, it's great for job thing, you could put it up there. The potential employers can go to your website and check it out, and they'll be impressed, and... Yeah, absolutely. So don't keep them to yourself. Share
with the world. Share with the world.
Absolutely. You know, if you want to keep the circuit to yourself, fine, but at least put up photos and descriptions and, you know, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, although I do recommend sharing.
Yeah, I was going to say, and somewhere in the open source hardware movement, someone screamed.
Someone screamed, yeah, but I respect people's individual...
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got the choice. I mean, it's just, you're going to get a lot more benefits. If you open it up, you're going to get a lot of benefits because people are going to be adding onto it, feeding it back to you. There's a lot of benefits to it, so we always encourage that.
We've got some follow-ups.
Follow-ups from last week. So we were talking about 6502 last week in the top 25 chips of the IEEE.
Yep.
And so Adam, who sent us that video of him building his workbench, that awesome workbench he built, he sent me an email about the guy that laid out the 6502. And it's not the team that laid out the 6502. It was the guy that laid out the 60. It's just like one guy, really? All by hand drawing. It's just like, oh my God, how you just I mean, it's 3,500 transistors as a reference point. And that's a lot of transistors, but it's nowhere near what it is today. But my God, like, he just designed the whole thing. Like, what?
You bet.
I mean, in 6502, that went into everything. Wasn't it in Nintendos and not Ataris, but I believe it was in a lot of other game systems.
A variant went into the Atari. There were a couple of variants of the 6502.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the Atari one had a couple of address lines missing or something like that.
Right.
But, yep. Basically a compatible chip. And
yeah,
and we've talked about how a mob have actually reverse engineered the 60. Did we talk about this last week, or was it on my forum? I can't remember.
It was on. I saw it on the forum. Yeah, there was the video of the guy that did that, right?
Yeah, they actually reverse engineered the 6502 by decapping the chip and doing a high res photo of the silicon, and they actually mapped out all 3,500 transistors, and they built a simulation from that without doing any debugging at all, and it's 100% accurate.
That's amazing.
Transistor level simulation. And you can actually go online. There's a web Java app where it shows a photo of the die, and you can actually execute an actual program, and you watch as the bits, you know, move inside the die. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's really brilliant.
That's gold, really.
Yeah. And we should mention the guy who did it, too, because, I mean, we can't just say the guy. It's
the guy.
Chuck
Who is
Peddle.
it?
Chuck Peddle was...
no, Chuck Peddle is the brainchild behind the 6502, but I don't think he's the one who laid it out.
Oh, I thought he was...
It was Bill Mensch, I think.
Oh,
it says here in the thing.
There it is, yeah. Sorry.
Yep.
Maybe it was a single engineer, Bill Mensch.
Yep.
Reading, not my strong point.
Yeah, so
Bill Mensch,
everyone forgets
crazy.
Bill, but Chuck is the designer of the 6502, and and if you don't know the story behind it, they used to work at Motorola, and Motorola had the 6800 chip, which was in all the computers at the time, all the very early basic computers, but it was like $300 per chip. And very expensive. And
they probably blew up pretty easy too, huh?
Yeah, and Chuck went to management with ideas for a low cost version, saying $300 is too much. This is crazy, and they just didn't want a bar of it. They just said, you know, bugger off. We're making a shitload of money on these 6800s. So him and a couple of other guys buggered off from Motorola and formed what's the company name?
Moss.
Yep. Moss, and they developed the 6502, which cost $25, and that's the chip that went into the Apple I. So Steve Wozniak went, shit, I can't afford $300, but he got from a trade show.
Yep.
Yeah, he bought two of these 6502 chips at a trade show, and they would just, you know, you hand over your cash and they'd give you a chip, you know. And
imagine that today.
Which was, well, back in the day, see, that was novel, because to get a 6800 from Motorola, you had to be a big business and go through the dealers and all that sort of shit. You couldn't just walk in with cash and buy one chip, please. But Steve Wozniak, you know, at the trade show, handed over his $25 and he got his 6502. He went back and the rest is history.
That's crazy.
So, it's just,
you know, it's interesting too, because I mentioned it, I think last week or the week before. I'm reading the Innovator's Dilemma right now, and they talk about that, how there's these companies that, like, they really want to protect, like, their high value, high margin stuff.
Yeah.
And then the people come in and they undercut. They don't even undercut them. They just make something as good or better at a lower price, and they sell a buttload of them, and then they just keep finding new markets for it. And it's just, I mean, it happens over and over and over again, and you just, it's crazy because they want to hold on to the profits. I mean, I understand that.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
Man, you got to watch out because those people are going to, the Mosses of the world are going to come and get you, even if they didn't. That Moss isn't still around. I think they got bought out or folded. But,
I don't know what happened to them, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but who cares, right? I mean, the 6502 itself, that sparked a revolution. So you got to watch out for that stuff. Even the 6800.
Right. Yeah, if you're working on a design which you think might become popular, I've said this before, put a lot of effort into lowering the cost. Put 10 times as much effort as you normally would into every cent counts. If you can optimize a cent off each part, and that board's $1 cheaper, then that's can only be a good thing. It can actually enable that, and if competitors come along, you can cut your margin and you can keep it cheap. And so don't underestimate the power of cheapness. Like, would the Arduino be as popular if it was $100 a board?
Right.
No,
and
it's sometimes it's not even popular now because it's so expensive. It's reasonably expensive because there's a lot of overhead on there in terms of other circuitry. So you can get smaller ones which strip off smaller versions of the Arduino, which strip off all the extra high cost circuitry, and it's cheaper. So you can embed it in 100 things instead of to put a full Arduino board in there, which costs $30 or $40, is expensive.
Yeah. Yep. So exactly.
Watch cost.
Yes.
And what about the 6502 having this screaming clock rate of 1 megahertz?
1 whole megahertz. That's right.
1 megahertz. Unbelievable.
Awesome.
Screaming. I love it. I love old tech like that.
Yeah. So that one probably ended up in the waste bin, right? Eventually, a lot of those 65. I mean, they're still designing them with them, but this is Chris trying to make a bad segue. But we had a follow up from last week about the e-week or e-waste rather, and apparently there was a study about that recently, and there was a surprising finding in there, and they kind of went to the top 25, and these are all consumer manufacturers, so monster operations. But the thing that was surprising to me, and I'll post a link to the actual thing, that they said everybody's getting a little bit better, but the ones who are doing the best are ASUS or ASUS or however you say it, ASUS, and I believe they're a Chinese-based company, I believe.
Yes. No. Are they Taiwanese?
Oh, Taiwanese, I believe. Yeah, that might be right.
I think they might be Taiwanese. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get it mixed up. Taiwan and China.
Right.
Ooh,
right. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. So they're doing the best though, whereas Apple and HP and everyone else, and Dell, they all still suck. I mean, they're getting better, but they're at the bottom of the pack basically.
See, now you wouldn't figure that if you just went by the marketing, because Dell, Apple, and HP put a shitload of marketing into the fact that they're green and they use recycled materials. Even Steve Jobs at his, new product presentations, keynote things that he gives when he whips out the new iPod Nano or the new, iPad or something, he almost always goes on about how green it is and how good the recycled and the manufacturing technologies and there's no harsh chemicals in them and all that sort of shit. So I find that surprising because, well, I don't find it surprising now that I know it was probably just a marketing wank and they've hyped it up. When you actually look into the real details, they still suck. So these big companies like to market. They like to market a lot. So
yeah, they do.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah,
Rather
I don't know.
surprising.
Maybe it was partly because Apple and HP. A lot of those people already go through Foxconn. That's who they're manufacturing through. So it's not like they still control the process. HP and Apple and all those guys do.
Of course.
But still built in China, and people still love cutting corners and saving those pennies.
Right.
So
and disposing of those harsh toxic chemicals inside the actual product. Yeah. Probably not, but not that far in it. We're not with the big products anyway, but I do know for a fact Steve Jobs listens to the amp hour, so Steve, get on it. Fix it, mate.
Oh,
Don't
my
be
goodness.
a dickhead.
That would be ridiculous.
Come on, of course everyone listens to the amp hour.
Right. They sit around their radios at home, right? And they gather the family together.
It in. Yeah, they tuned in with the big analog dial, which goes to a big pulley and then goes to a variable capacitor.
Yeah.
And
they warm up a glass of Ovaltine. They sit in their comfy polyester chairs and they tune into the amp hour, coming to you live whenever you want it.
And they do it in front of the flickering fireplace, which is their only light,
Right, of course.
Because,
Oh, by the way, they're cavemen.
Oh, good. I love it.
So, speaking of waste, Eddie, one of our listeners, responded last week about us being hypocrites. And basically because incandescents versus CFLs, the incandescents are a lot less wasteful, right? So we were talking about LED lighting and CFL lighting, and and basically, you throw away a incandescent bulb, and it's a piece of tungsten, some filament, the bottom piece, the Edison screw bulb, right, and then the glass, and that's about it, right?
No. See, here's the thing. I pointed this out on my rather extensive post on the forum. No, it does actually contain lead as well. So technically, you're not allowed to just throw out light bulbs.
I did not know that.
Technically, I guess it depends on the country.
I burn them in my backyard. It's weird.
Yeah,
Is that bad?
You're supposed to dispose of them properly. So, and the thing is, it is possible to dispose of the new CFL bulbs cleanly and safely. It just costs a bit of money. I think it's in the order of 30 to 50 cents per bulb or something like that. So if countries were to dispose of them properly, they would have to build that into the cost or, set up some sort of management systems for them. I think they had that here in Australia at one stage. You could dispose of your CFLs safely by dropping them in a box somewhere. I think they even had them in some of the stores. I think they had like a waste box. You could drop them in and they'd, recycle them safely so the mercury didn't come out and stuff like that. So, yeah. But, of course we're a bit hypocritical. Everyone's hypocritical
right,
of
this show is founded on being hypocrites. Come on, people.
Exactly.
I don't even know what an electron is.
Right. The problem I have with the incandescent bulbs is that it's a ridiculously inefficient way to produce light. It's just from a... it's
just so legacy, right?
It's so legacy and it just kills me to switch it on and know that, no, it's not actually a light. It's mostly a heater. And when you want light out of it, and then you've got to turn on the air conditioner typically in hot countries because you've got to cool down the room more because you're bloody, you've got a couple of 100-watt heaters in your, about 80 watts. What are they, 10, 15% efficient or something? They only convert, so maybe, 90 watts of heat. And if you've got 5 of them in a room or something, that's a lot of heat.
Yeah.
That's like a small bar radiator heater heating up your room, and you've got to combat that with your air conditioner. It's just, it's insane.
Not as big a deal in the winter.
I know, exactly. You get some benefit, but I love the simplicity of it, of course. But no, the inefficiency, that's why I just don't like it. And, of course, one of the biggest problems facing this planet, here's a rant, is our excess energy consumption and our wastefulness of energy. So,
Well, it's been pretty free up until this point, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. People are realising the cost of it. And in terms of, environment and not just the actual production
monetary cost.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question for you about that, Dave, because, one of the things that Eddie was talking about is basically, with good focus, there are a lot of components in the base of a CFL bulb, the ballast
of
that
thing. There are a shitload, yep.
Yeah. But my question for you is, do you ever think there will be a DC standard? So
in homes,
I would love that personally. I
would love that too.
I think they're gearing up for it too because you think about like a 48 volt standard, right? First off, you could have an actual standard across the world. Wouldn't that be nice? Instead of 120, 240, whatever the hell's out there, 90,
and a standard plug
100,
too.
Oh, God, standard plug. Let's not get crazy, Dave. Come on, people still need to make money.
Get carried away,
right?
Pie in the
still
sky
need to make
stuff.
money regionally. But, that would be great. Maybe we should start that here, right? The amp hour 48 volt standard DC home wiring. What do you think?
Well, no, you see, 48 volts is technically high voltage. I think anything above 32,
I thought 60.
think is...
I thought 60 was
it's around 30 something volts. So you'll find it's technically Yeah, high voltage. You can get multimeters that warn you if it's above a certain voltage, an audible alert or a visual alert, and it's usually around the 30-odd volt mark. I had a HP high voltage, 1,000-volt generator once, and it would turn on at, I think, 32 volts. It'd flash up a red light saying high voltage. So anyway, I'm sure I might be corrected on that, but yeah, 48 volts is reasonably high, but I'd prefer...
either way. Okay, so 30 volt. I mean, whatever it is, right? I mean,
whatever it is. DC standard.
Yeah, some kind of DC standard, like have a standard socket plug-in for LED bulbs. Because, I mean, that's the problem with LED bulbs right now, too, is... Well, that's one of the problems. You still have to rectify the voltage internally, right?
Yep.
And then the other problem is heat, which is always going to be a problem for LEDs because you have this tiny little die that's outputting a lot of light and a lot of heat. And you got to try and get it away from there as fast as possible. But, I mean, take out one of the problems, and we might be a little closer to LED lighting nirvana, right?
Well, LED lighting nirvana is going to happen regardless of whether or not you have a DC system installed, because they will just put in, 240 volt, 110. I know, it'd be great, but your question was, do I think it's going to happen? I think no.
You don't think
several reasons is because we're so well entrenched in
stupid
people have been talking about
sockets.
I don't think it might happen. It might come along as an auxiliary system, but there's probably, if you look into the actual details, if you're talking about having one big DC to DC converter out in your box that then powers, 50 different outlets around the home or something like that, you'll find that would have to cater, your wiring would have to cater for the highest common, the highest current capability.
Right.
You would need massive amounts of copper, and copper is massively expensive. I don't know about the US, but here in Australia, there's people going around ripping out copper pipes and copper wiring from all these new homes that are being built. I think it's the same in the US.
It is, yeah. So, that happens a lot,
and
especially
it's
like
massively expensive. And imagine if you've got to cater for 48 volts, and it's got to be, or 24 or something. It's got to be, you've got to cater for 10 amps or something like that. That's and over the span of hundreds of feet.
Well, no, the way I would envision it... All right, since you're asking, the way I would envision it is each room... So you could still have an AC main stuff, because you wouldn't want to be running refrigerators off DC kind of stuff, right? You still want to have motors that are running off AC. But then in every room, you have a switcher, because you're right, you don't want to have those long drops.
You would need it,
Yeah, you'd have I squared R drops. If you try to have a central unit, you'd have I squared R drops throughout your house, so...
It'd be massive,
That would suck. And... where am I going with that? It's not I squared R, it's just IR, right? Yeah, just IR drops. But
no, it's I squared R.
I squared R? What am I thinking about?
I squared R losses, Current squared times resistance.
Okay, a little brain fart there. But so you'd have a local swisher in each room, basically, and then you'd have the wiring from that point. And then you could have a dimming module in there. You could... I don't know. I think that kind of thing would be a lot better than a central unit, because otherwise it wouldn't work
but then
out.
The electronics would be embedded in the wall, and it would fail. What do you do then? Or do you have these ugly boxes on the outside of the wall, and then you'd need a central box in each room on the wall? The practicalities of this start sort of taking over, and people don't want ugly boxes. People live in their lovely McMansions with all their stainless steel and their glass and their... You
put a stainless steel cover on it. That's fine with me.
And their granite bench tops. And I know. Yeah, you could. I think there's actually some homes that have installed a low voltage system. I'm sure I could dig up the home of the future or something.
Yeah, there was one with there was a feature I saw on Dean Kamen's house. Dean Kamen being the inventor of the Segway personal transporter and much other crap.
Yep.
And he lives on a little island off of Connecticut, I think it is. And it's called Little North Dumpling Island, I think it is.
Right.
Really weird. But he actually has this beautiful LED lighting system. And, I mean, the guy is a genius in his own right and rich. So, I mean, you could probably get any kind of thing you wanted in your house at that point. But really cool, like dimming and color settings for mood lighting and all that other junk. So, definitely high-end still, but it is possible. Maybe not standard, You're not going to run down to Home Depot or your local hardware store and pick up...
Well, you can. There's people doing that now. People have lighting, all LED mood lighting all over the thing, full RGB control, all computer controlled and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's pretty basic these days, but I don't know, a DC system in the home. I would like to see it maybe for low power stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it would probably work for high power, any high power systems or something like that. But
no,
I don't know, maybe each outlet is a maximum of 5 watts, 10 watts, something like that perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah.
It'd be cool, but I don't know. It certainly won't happen anytime soon, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And by the industry, all sorts of industries, by their very nature, don't like standards. They just hate them. Everyone wants to control it and do their own thing. And
everyone wants to put their own stuff in there so it favors their production, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm surprised that a lot of the mobile phone manufacturers are trying to go towards a standard charging connector, which is the micro USB. Now they're trying to go towards that, and that's great. But not every. Of course, Apple will never do it, and
Well, it's getting standardized, I think, in Europe too. I think that's what really did it. Is there was a government thing in Europe that said
was there?
Yeah, no individual charger. Like no, I think they had a standard in Europe, and I think that's really what drove a lot of it. So
okay, excellent. Yeah, it kind of needs sort of government. That's where governments can step in and go. You must have this, and that's it. End of story.
Yeah, and sometimes that's the only way to get it done, unfortunately.
Yeah. Ah, boy.
What about, what else we want to talk about here? We got a lot of stuff still, huh? We haven't even gotten to this.
No.
Man, we haven't gotten anything. You just give up now, come back next week, and talk about the stuff on the list.
And we've been ranting for 45 minutes. Shit, it's almost over.
45 minutes. Oh, God.
Get out
How
of
about
here.
CES? You've been watching that crap? You've been watching all that crap come out of there?
A couple of things from CES.
I
I try and avoid it.
There. Yeah, I know.
Apparently it's all tablets. Tablets are the big in thing this year. And
I know.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. I thought CES started on Sunday or Monday. It started on friggin' Thursday.
Right.
Like people were talking about it so much, and then finally real announcements started coming out on Thursday, and it's like, oh, so what were you guys doing those other 3 days? Like,
it goes for a whole week, doesn't it?
It's just, it starts Thursday. I think it goes like Thursday to Saturday, Thursday to Sunday, or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But it's so stupid. I don't know. It's getting so built up. I don't know. It's all consumer stuff.
Yeah, it's a junket for everyone in the industry to go to Vegas. Yeah. It's in Vegas, isn't it?
I think it's in Vegas, yes.
Yeah, it's always in Vegas, I think. And, Vegas is great, so everyone wants to go to Vegas.
Big party. Yeah. I was talking to someone on Twitter, I think, about that. I was wondering how many actual engineers and like product designers do you think are there? They have these brilliant things.
It's geeks who want to play with the latest gadget, and it's big business people on junkets. That's probably it.
Like press reporters and
all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I don't think there's any real design engineers. I'm sure there are, but it's a very small percentage. I'm sure. So
I saw MakerBot was out there. They were selling a bunch
I saw
of
the
stuff.
MakerBot stand.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they had about 10 of them all set up, and they all lit it up. They had them all lit up different colours, so they all looked very monolithic, and it was good. Good on them. But I've heard it's hard to stand out at these shows because I've heard, they're so big that you can't walk around them in 5 days and actually look at all the stands. It's just that huge. So,
and the booth babes. I mean, can't forget that.
The booth babes. Right. I'm actually entering a contest. You'll probably see it go up on the site probably tomorrow. I've already shot it last night, a short little intro, and then it's just I just whacked on my clip on the end of it, my standard little how to
intro.
entertain a nerd clip.
Yeah.
But I've renamed it All Geek because the contest is the Top Geek contest. So I'm going to enter that. It's run by an internet service provider here in Australia, and the first prize is a trip to any show you want. So you can go to CES, you can go to any of the major shows. So it's a free trip.
That's cool.
There. So I'm going to enter
that.
To
so Electronica next year if it's in Germany. Is it in Germany every year? That one?
No, it's every second year. But I could go to Electronica, but it's probably not on next year. I think you have a year to use it. So, I don't know. Anyway.
That's cool. I'll look
But
forward
yeah,
to
it'd be
seeing
cool.
that.
So everyone, vote for me, please, when it's up there.
Vote for Dave.
It closes on the 14th, so I've got to upload it today, I think. And then it's based on votes, the number of votes. So hopefully I can enlist the EEV blog and Amp Hour audiences.
And alternately, if you're out there and you're listening and you're entering and you think your idea is better than Dave, put that up too.
Right, of course. Dear.
Yeah.
And it's not an idea. You just enter. A video is optional, but I've done a video, of course.
Of course.
And and then it's votes, and then I think they get to decide who gets the top 10 or something. But I don't know.
Cool. Oh, bless you.
Oh, thank you.
Well, speaking of the design, one of our listeners wrote in, and it was Brian Hoskins. He wanted opinion on
Brian.
What?
Brian's
Brian.
long time.
Yeah. He's building a weather balloon, apparently, a helium weather balloon.
Awesome.
And so he's talking about he wants to put a interface for sensors on there, and he's going to open source it, which is awesome. So that's great. Yep. But he was kind of wondering about standardizing the output, and what we thought about what we should do about the the interface to all the sensors for I believe for daughter boards, and what we thought about the design and how we would do it. So what do you think, Dave?
Yeah, I haven't looked at the actual design. Has he got example block diagrams or circuits up there or something? Or
no, just the explanation. So
just the explanation. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the holy grail of modular electronics. You develop a universal board that everyone will use and it caters for everything, and it never works. I've tried it myself. I've been involved in various ventures to do it. Many companies
That's great
have
advice,
tried.
Dave. Now, son, listen to me. You're going to fail.
You're going to fail. Well, I like some people will use it, but really, ultimately, it comes down to most people are going to want to do their own thing. They're going to go, well, yeah, it's a nice circuit, and I'll use some of it, but then I don't want everything else, so I have to lay out my own board. So from a circuit point of view, yes, you can get a modular sort of approach, and then people can pick and choose what parts they want and then only use that in their design.
Right.
But if you start talking, like a modular PCB level system, that's where it starts to break down and not work very well, because it doesn't suit somebody's form factor, or it uses a part that you can't get now, or they can't get easily or cheaply, or they may have found a cheaper chip somewhere else, blah, 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 or it uses too much power consumption, or it does this, it does that, or doesn't work at the right voltage they want. And
yeah, I know, right?
endless.
A lot of stuff in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
I mean, there is a good example out there right now. I mean, the Arduino is an example of that, right? They have analog push through there. There's digital I/O. So that kind of stuff is an example. I mean, you could even use that kind of thing and design the sensor boards instead if you wanted to. But at the same time, maybe that doesn't have what you need. And I think part of that depends on, what specs you need from the A to D, right? So
of course.
I think it's only 12-bit out of the... Is it 12-bit in the
It's 12-bit, but it's 12-bit 0 to 5, which is the, thing.
Right.
And it uses the internal voltage reference. It doesn't use like a proper precision external reference, I don't think.
Right, so...
Don't quote me on that. But
so that means you'd have to end up pushing that through digital I/O. Right.
Yeah. Everyone's got their own requirements, and it's hard to design a universal board to cater for everything. So, yeah, I mean, I guess my advice to Brian is don't put too much effort into it. Sort of try and make your schematics modular so that people can then pick and choose, so that they can reuse your modules.
Yeah, and I would say, use standard pin spacing. So, I mean, that is one good thing about the Arduino is, the 100 mil spacing. So
I think that's overrated, though. The importance.
I don't think
of that
so, because you can get cheap stuff then. That drives costs too. So if you use like a PCI connector, right? Not the best thing, but very cheap, right? You can get a PCI connector for what, like $1, maybe less.
Oh yeah, very cheap.
And that's a lot. I mean, you just have to do gold fingers and
pins.
still.
That's a shitload of pins. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, like that. Just the volume side of things. If you choose a standard design and use it in a non-standard way, you can. It usually drives costs down. So that's the only real benefit of that.
Yeah,
not necessarily anything else. So, I don't know.
I did that on one of my boards some time ago. I actually used a PCI. I can't remember how many weight, because you can get different size PCIs, and and I use that as a standard interface connector for a test board. So it was,
Nice.
you know, and the connector only costs $1, and then you build in to your board the actual product I was designing. Actually had the PCI Edge connector on the side of it, and I broke out all the test signals to it. And that was hidden in the final product, but at the bare board level, you can see it, and you can plug it straight into the test jig, and all the test signals come out on that PCI connector.
That's great. You know, and I've seen
worked
actually
fantastic.
before. I mean, that's a big design component from older modular design too. I have a post on my site about. I took apart my old TechScope 425M. And,
it does.
You know, that thing has modular. It has these huge analog gold fingers on it, and it's awesome. And even if you look at I think even on the Wikipedia page of the 741 op amp, they used to actually sell these. You know, because the op amp design was made before the silicon was made. You know, they had actual system level, you know, like a transistor here, transistor there, and they sold these as modules, and then it had the same thing with gold fingers on the side. You could plug that into sockets, and then when you burnt it up, because, I mean, let's be honest, back then you were probably burning them up pretty easily.
Swap it out,
then you just swap in another one for $30 or however how much they cost, which is a lot.
Well, it's Tektronix, you know.
But yeah. Well, no, that was for an op amp by itself too. I mean, not necessarily Tektronix one. The whoever was making
you would
some
just
national
pop them out
or
of the sockets
whoever's making these test
and
boards
replace them.
Yeah. So modularity is great, but you're going to pay for it either way. I mean, you're going to pay for it locking yourself into an interface,
or something
or for
else,
the actual connector cost.
So just don't compromise your design just to just to potentially make a modular system that other people might use. I wouldn't compromise your own design for that. If you can do both, great. But yeah, a lot of thought needs to go into it.
And I would always push too. I mean, I think people, not necessarily Brian or anyone else, but I guess other people would be the the target here. But people are really often saying, well, I can't do this because it doesn't have this or this. And sometimes it's better to, not necessarily Arduino, but just other standards that are already out there. It's better to just try and wrap your design to that, because there is going to be that same built-in support. So you can roll it from scratch. I was talking to a friend who's doing a design, or about to start a design, and he's like, oh, I'm going to redo everything. And I'm like, there's so much stuff out there already. It might be worth it to take some of your time and wrap your daughter board or whatever it's going to be around this standard, and then you don't have to worry about that piece. Basically you remove it from the troubleshooting equation.
Same here.
And I like that a lot.
If it suits your requirements in terms of all the things I've said, cost and everything else, size and power and blah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
it's a tricky question. It's an age old. It's certainly not a new concept. It's an age old concept, and people have been grappling with it for a long, long time, and they will continue to.
Yeah, I want to see these pictures. I love those balloon projects. I mean,
oh yeah,
like that
awesome.
father-son team that just sent one up, I think, a little while ago, and that you can see the curvature of the Earth.
Yep,
and
you see the curvature. Oh, it's great.
It's amazing.
Yeah, you put an automated camera on it.
It's like what? So cool.
It's worth it just to take the one photo.
Yeah, right.
It's worth all that effort to get the camera up there and snap one photo. Yeah. That's just beauty.
It'd be cool to do past the human, because I think those things get to what, 100,000 meters or something like that. Is that totally
100,000 feet?
100,000 feet. Oh, sorry.
100,000 meters. You'd be out
there, right?
Well and truly in orbit.
Right. Yeah, because 100,000 feet is not true orbit, right? Because that's when the helium pops.
Well, 100,000 feet is deemed to be space. That's technically, if you go over, people who fly in the U-2 spy plane and the SR-71 and all that sort of stuff, if you go above a certain height, you can claim that you've been in space, and B, you get some sort of patch saying
a patch.
you get a patch saying that you are an astronaut. You've been into space because you got over X height. I think it's even 90,000 or 100,000 feet.
Oh, wow.
Something like that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the limit of what they deem to be space.
So how many balloons would I have to tie to myself to get up there and get a patch?
I don't know. A shitload. They did that on Mythbusters, Jamie and Adam.
Oh, they did?
On Mythbusters. I think that was one of their first episodes, was
nice.
the balloon thing.
Oh.
And they blew up like, I don't know, 1,000 balloons or something, and they could only get, 1,000 feet or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
oh,
I don't know. I think,
crazy.
space is just like the whole private. I had this a while back on our list, and we never really got to talk about it. But like, that SpaceX launch, just watching that go up, it was so amazing. Like the how that all is moving in the private sector and stuff. And I think that's going to be a really big deal. I really don't know what else to say about it other than it's a big deal.
Well, I don't necessarily like it going private. I think it's cool that private are doing it. It's fantastic, but I think it's wrong that government are no longer doing it. I'm talking about the US here,
right,
who have practically shut down their manned space program.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that either.
And outsourced it. I mean, what a dumbass decision of the decade,
right.
Really. I mean,
I think the bigger loss is from the because just so much money from that ends up going into research that then helps people later, right? I mean, NASA is a very big researcher,
of course,
and that alone. Yep. I mean, private industry, they do what they call R&D, but not necessarily on the same level as like a scientific agency, right? I mean, people are going to say NASA is bloated and whatever, and that's true, but they do a lot of research that's important to the world. So I think
important for our industry in terms of they've done lots of research on lead-free soldering. They're one of the world leaders in researching the tin whisker problem and other component reliability and radiation hardening and all that sort of jazz. They got and anyway they just want to. Anyway, they're pissing away their manned space program, and I'm pissed.
Yeah.
So
I'm not happy about it either. But on the other side, I mean, there is the upside of, hopefully the fact that it is, private space exploration is up there. Maybe that'll move more people towards it, because there was a lot of languishing and people wanting to, go into that industry for a while. It definitely lulled. And if it's lulled, not lulled, by the way. Nerd. But maybe the private exploration will help push more kids into it and want to get up in space a little easier, because if there's more people going up, that's a good thing, I think.
That's if it stays in the US and doesn't get completely outsourced, and if other companies don't take over, because when it becomes private, then if somebody else can do it cheaper and better, you're screwed. You're going to shut down. You're going to be out of business.
That's true, yeah.
Who knows? In 5-10 years' time, every space company in the US could be out of business because somebody else has beat them.
Yeah, maybe.
So,
who knows?
God. Anyway. So that gets the, shutting down the manned space program, NASA, that's Dave's dumbass award of the week. So, there you go.
I'm sure NASA's hanging its head in shame somewhere.
Oh, they should be. Yeah, the bastards. I'll tweet them. That'll teach them.
Oh, yeah. Take that. Take that with 140 characters. Yeah.
And I'll use every one of the damn characters, too.
Yeah, that's right. All right, I think we're out of characters for the week.
Oh, bloody hell.
I know. 45 minutes in, we almost got to some of our discussion points, too.
We almost got to some of them. Yeah. It's pathetic.
We'll try and get to more of them next week.
Not to worry. A show's a show. Yeah. It's in the can.
That's right. In the can. 25.
Awesome.
We'll see you next week for 26.
See you guys.